Okay, we're going to go super simple at first, and I'm going to make sure that you have math strategies for addition. So plus 0, anything plus 0 equals itself. So 8 plus 0 equals 8. Plus 1, we're going to go up 1. So what comes after 8? 9. Plus 2, we're going to go up 2. So you start from the next number after 8, which is 9, and you go to 10.
That equals 10.
Yep. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, for plus 3, you're going to add 2, and then you're going to add 1 more. So if you have 8 plus 3, you're going to go 9, 10, 11.
Yep.
Plus, perfect. Plus 2 is how you're going to break up plus 4. So if you have 9 plus 4, you're going to break it into 9 plus 2, which is 13. All right. Plus 10, anything plus 10, you are just going to, for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you're just going to add a 1 in the front. So you're going to take your 7, you're going to rewrite it, and you're going to put a 1 in front, like that. This one, you do that all the way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it changes after 9, and we'll deal with that later. Okay, plus 9, 9 plus 9, you're going to act like it's a 10. So you're going to say 10 plus 9 is 19, and then you're going to go back 1. Does that make sense to you? Okay.
It equals 18.
Perfect. Okay, plus 11, plus 12, plus 13, and plus 14, you're going to use the plus 10 strategy again. So 11 plus 7, you're going to say 10 plus 7.
18, right?
Yep, so you're going to say 10 plus 7 is 17, plus 1 more. So you're going to use plus 10. Don't you see how that makes it easy? Like super, super easy? Okay. Same thing for this. 12 plus 7, you're going to say 10 plus 7 is 17, and now you're going to add this 2 back in, 18, 19.
That equals 19.
Yep. 13 plus 7, you're going to say 10 plus 7 is 17, plus 3 is 18, 19, 20.
20.
Yep. 14 plus 7, you're going to say 10 plus 7 is 17. Then you're going to add 2, and then you're going to add 2 more. So you're breaking this 14 down to a plus 10, and a plus 2, and a plus 2. Way easier, right?
Yeah, way easier.
Okay, so those are our addition strategies, and then we're going to deal with our near doubles and our doubles. So you probably learned it this way, which is great.
Yeah.
So I know that 4 plus 4 is 8. So 4 plus 5 is 1 more, 9. And 4 plus 3 is 1 less, it's 7. Does that make sense to you? Okay. 5 plus 5 is 10. So 5 plus 6 is 1 more, that's 11. And 5 plus 4 is 1 less, that's 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. So 3 plus 4 is 7. And 3 plus 2 is 1 less, it's 5.
Oh,
2 plus 2 is 4, so 2 plus 3 is 5, and 2 plus 1 is 1 less, 3. 6 plus 6 is 12, so 6 plus 7 is 13, and 6 plus 5 is 1 less, it's 11. 7 plus 7 is 14, so 7 plus 8 is 1 more, 15. And 7 plus 6 is 1 less, it's 13. 8 plus 8 is 16. So 8 plus 9 is 1 more, it's 17. And 8 plus 7 is 15 because it's 1 less.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Awesome. 9 plus 9 is 18. So 9 plus 10 is 1 more, it's 19. and 9 plus 8 is 1 less. It's 17. Now we have some crazy ones, and they are 6 plus 8, 8 plus 6, which are the exact same answers.
Yep.
We have 5 plus 7 and 7 plus 5.
Plus 5.
And then we have 8 plus 5 and 5 plus 8. So we know it doesn't matter.
Can you scoot the paper a little back?
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So for this one, we're going to say 6 plus 6 is 12. But we're not doing 6 plus 6. We're doing 6 plus 8. So we're going to add 2 more to the back.
So that equals 14.
That's right. And same thing for this one. This one, we're going to use 5 plus 5 as our strategy, but we're not doing 5 plus 5, we're doing 5 plus 7. So we're going to say 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12.
Yeah.
Because the difference between 5 and 7 is 2. That's where I get my 2. Okay, for this one, we do 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 3, because this is an 8. And 8 is 3 more than 5.
Yeah.
So that's why we change it into this. Is not a 5, it's an 8, so we add 3 to the back.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 13. Okay, we're going to go over subtraction strategies. We have the same exact thing that we can do for subtraction. So, minus 0, anything minus 0 equals itself. So, 8 minus 0 equals 8.
Yeah.
Minus 1, we go back 1. So, 8 minus 1, what comes before 8?
Equals 7.
You got it. Minus 2, we're going to go back 2. So, we're going to say 7, 6.
Yep.
Minus 3, we're going to go back 3. So we're going to say 7, 6, 5. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
All right. Minus 4, we're going to go back 2, and then we're going to go back 2 more. So if I have 9 minus 4, I'm going to say 9 minus 2 is 7, minus 2 more is 5.
Yeah. And it's sort of like 5 plus 4 is just take away the 4 and it equals 5. Because
That's right.
5 plus 4 equals 9.
Exactly. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to do next door neighbors and next door neighbors. So 10 is next to 9 on the number line. So if I had a number line, here's where 10 would be and 9 would be right here. So if the number lives right next to the other number on the number line, just like you live one house away from your next door neighbor, the answer is always going to be 1. And it doesn't matter how big the number is. 998 minus 997, they live right next to each other on the number line. The answer is 1.
1.
Makes sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
All right, I love that it makes sense. Okay, so let me just write second grade in the fall. All right, so now we learn, sometimes we have to do word problems, and we can use the same exact strategies. So June sees 8 dolphins, so we write an 8 right here.
Yeah.
Scott sees 6 dolphins, so we write a 6 right here. And they're asking how many more dolphins does June see? So June sees 8, Scott sees 6, so we say 8 minus 6. Now,
8 minus
that's kind of tricky. How would we know it's 2? I haven't given you a strategy for that. How would you figure that out?
because 6 plus 2 equals 8, so it's 8 minus 6, so it equals 2.
Exactly. So we could use our fact family, right?
Yeah.
And another way we can say that is, let me write some of these problems down. Okay, so for these ones, we're going to do some mixed up. I won't tell you what the strategy is right away. We're going to try to figure it out. So for this one, we don't have a strategy for -8, but we can turn it around and say 8 plus something equals 10, and then it becomes a very easy problem.
Yeah.
So what
That's
would,
what I do for
perfect, what would the answer be?
It would be 2.
You got it. This one, 6 plus something, we don't know what the something is, equals 10.
6 plus, hold on, give me a second. Oh, 6 plus 4.
You got it. 5 plus something equals 10.
5 plus 5.
Mm-hmm. 7 plus something equals 10.
7 plus 3 equals 10.
4, we have a 4 strategy, so we can either turn it around and say 4 plus something equals 7, or we can just go down 2 and go down 2 more. We have math girl choice.
So it needs to equal 7.
7 minus 4 equals...
7 plus 3 equals...
Exactly.
No, 4 plus 3 equals 7.
Yep. And then this one, we have a -3 strategy. We just go down 3. Or we can say 3 plus something equals 6.
Yeah, 3 plus 6. No, 3 plus 3 equals...
That's right. Okay. This one, we can say 7 plus something equals 9. 5 plus something.
7 plus 2 equals 9.
You got it. And then that's what we can do for all of these.
5 plus 4 equals 9.
Exactly. Next one.
Okay. 5 plus 3 equals 9.
That's right. Or 5 plus 2.
Yeah.
And then this one is our next door neighbor. 5 is next to 6 on the number line.
Where?
Right
should
here.
I look at? Oh, right there. Yeah. Next door.
Yeah. So 5 is next to 6 on the number line.
Oh yeah.
So what do we know about next door neighbors? If 5 is next to 6 on the number line, the answer is...
Wait, can you re-say that? I didn't hear you.
If 5 is next to 6 on the number line...
If I was next to 6 on the number line?
If 5 is next to 6 on the number line, how many jumps would you have to go to get to the next number?
Like, I think 1.
Yeah, because how many houses do you live away from your next door neighbor? 1. So same thing with this. Okay, 6 minus 2, we use the -2 strategy, so we just go back to 5, 4.
Yeah.
5 plus something equals 8.
5 plus 3 equals 8.
You got it. 8 minus 7 is our next door neighbor one.
Yeah, next door.
So 8 minus 7 is
8 minus what?
7.
8 minus 7 is 1.
Yep. This one, 6 plus something equals 8.
6 plus 2 equals 8.
Perfect. And then this one we do our minus 3 strategy. So we go down from 7, we say 6, 5, 4.
Yeah.
And then this one we say 6 minus 2 minus 2. That is our minus 4 strategy. So
That
the answer,
2.
you got it. Okay, perfect. So we have all of our addition facts and all of our subtraction facts. And we know also that the order doesn't matter. So 6 plus 8 is the same as 8 plus 6. It does not matter what order it's in. Okay, let's do some place value. So this is the ones, this is the tens, and this is the hundreds. Do you remember learning about that?
Yeah.
Okay. The next one would be thousands. And so if you had a number like this, that would be 5 ones, and it's worth only 5, right? But if you have something here, that's 5 tens. What is that worth?
That's 55.
Or just 50 for here. So suppose there was nothing in the ones yet. This is worth 50. And then suppose I put a 3 here. That means 5 tens is 50 and 3 ones is 3. So it's 53.
53.
So now this stands for 5 hundredths. So this stands for 5 tens, which is 50. So this is 500, this is a 50, and this is a 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
552.
You got it. This one is an 8, but it's in the thousandth spot, so it's actually worth 8,000. This is
8,323.
That's right. So if I said, hey Stella, I have 4 tens, what is that worth?
4 tens equals 40.
And I have 2 ones, what is that worth?
42.
So what would that number be? 42. You got it.
Yeah.
6 tens and 5 ones, what would that number be?
6 tens and 5 ones, that would equal 65.
And then the next thing they might show it as is a rod. Did you work with rods last year?
Yeah, I did.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so here's a tens rod, and I'm going to put 3 of them here, and then I'm going to put some ones rods. So what would this number be?
Wait, can you... 33.
You got it. Okay, hundredths block would be like this. So if I had 200 blocks
200 blocks.
and then 2 tens blocks and 1 ones block, that would be 100 and 100 and 10 and 10 and 1. So we add that all together.
That equals 221.
You got it. Okay. So now we're going to talk about odds and evens. So how do we know if a number is odd or even?
So even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and the odd numbers are the numbers that are between those two, maybe 1, 3, 5, 7.
That's right. And it's what the number ends in. So if you have a 22, you don't look at this number, you look at this number right here, whatever's in the ones is how we know. And even numbers, you're right, end in 2, 4, 6, 8, 0. Odds end in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So 25 is odd, but 26 is
even.
And 10 is even, but 11 is
Off.
You got it. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is greater than, less than, and equal to. So do you remember that?
I think so.
Okay.
Greater.
So whatever the smallest number is, the arrow's going to be pointing to it. And it's not very nice, but it helps kids learn how to remember which way the arrow goes. So this one, whatever the smallest number is, the arrow's going to point to it and say, ha, 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 you're smaller than me. So that's how you can remember it. It's not nice, but it's a good way to remember what the bigger number is. So the bigger number is always pointing to the smaller number. Does that make sense? So 65 is more than 64. 84 is less than 89. And 89 is equal to 89. Awesome. All right, my friend, you are doing great. Do you have any questions so far?
Not really, but I did these arrow things at the end of the year, so it's a little hard for me for the arrows.
Okay, let's practice a little more. So 53 and 52, 61 and 58, 3 and 13, 3 and 30. Okay, so which number is bigger, 53 or 52?
53.
So we're going to make our arrow point to 52. And then which one is bigger, 61 or 58?
61.
So we're going to make it point that way. What about, let me change this actually. 30 and 13.
30's greater.
So we're going to make it point that way. And then which one is bigger, 3 or 30?
30.
So we're going to make it point the other way. Yeah. So whatever the smallest number is, that's where the point of the arrow is pointing. Okay. We are going to learn, you probably did this in the beginning of the school year, so we might have to relearn it. Do you remember how to round?
I don't think so.
Okay. So this is not going to make sense to you right now, but it will. You're going to keep practicing, and you're going to keep watching the video, and then it'll start to make sense. So don't worry if it does not make sense to you. It's 100% okay. I'm going to go through lots of examples, and if you don't understand it after this session and after the videos, we'll keep going over it until you do. So don't worry about it at all. Okay. So here is what you do for rounding. You take the number, we have the ones place and we have the tens place, and we're rounding to the tens place. So what you're going to do is you're going to underline the tens place like that. And then you're going to go over here to the right and you're going to say 5 or more, let it soar.
5 or more, let it soar.
4 or less, let it rest. And I know that doesn't make any sense to you right now, but it will. So this number right here is the number that we're talking about. Is it 5 or more?
Yeah, that's 5 or more.
So it soars. Now, this is not the number that soars. This underlined digit is the number that soars. And it can only either stay the same at 1 or it could soar to a 2. So for this one, it soars to a 2. And everything after the underlined digit becomes a 0. It's very tricky, but it won't be tricky soon. So I'm going to go through these. It's okay if you don't understand them. I'm just going to do the same exact thing that I just did, and it'll start to make sense. I promise. Okay. So I'm going to underline the tens digit because that's what I'm rounding to. And I'm going to go to this digit to the right, and I'm going to say 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less, let it rest. It's over 5, so this underlined digit soars up one number. It goes up 1, 2, 3, and everything after the underlined digit becomes a 0. 5 or more, let it soar. It soars. This 1 turns into a 2, and everything after the underlined digit turns to a 0. I'm going to underline this number. 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less, let it rest. So the number rests at 1. It does not soar to 2. And then everything after that digit goes to a 0. This one, we're going to say 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar. It's less. So this number stays at a 4. It rests at a 4. And everything after becomes a 0. We're going to underline this digit. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar. This becomes stays a 4. And this becomes a 0. We're going to underline this digit. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar. This number goes up to a 5, and everything after becomes a 0. We're going to underline the tens digit. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar. This becomes a 5, and everything after becomes a 0. Okay. Does that kind of make a little teeny bit of sense?
Sorta.
Okay, so I'm going to use these numbers right here, and I'm going to walk you through the steps, and you're going to tell me what the answer is. So I'm going to underline my 8. I'm going to go to my 2, and I'm going to say 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar. So does this number rest at 8, or does it go to a 9?
I think it rests.
It rests. And everything after becomes a 0. I'm going to underline this digit. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to say 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar.
So it stays 7.
And then everything after becomes a 0. I'm going to underline this digit. I'm going to go to this digit and say 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar.
So it equals 70.
So this soars to an 8, and everything after becomes a 0. Kind of makes sense? A little teeny bit?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to underline the tens digit, and I'm going to say 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less, let it rest. This soars up to a 9, and every digit after becomes a 0.
Okay.
All right. You can just keep practicing, keep watching it. It'll start to make more and more sense. Now, here's your jam. Regrouping, you said, was hard, right? So if I have a number like this, first step is to add my ones. 5 plus 3 is 8. My second step is to add my tens. 4 plus 4 is 8.
And then...
So that's it. That's not regrouping. That's just adding. Now, if my digits, if the answer is more than one digit like this one, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, I don't have a place to put the answer. So for this one, 5 plus 6 is 11. I don't have a place to put a 1 and a 1. I only have a place to put one digit.
And 11 with the...
Yeah, so I put my ones digit here and I put my tens digit here.
Yeah, then it equals 100, right?
No, so now it equals 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 1 is 10, and it's 101. Okay, this one we have 7 plus 8 is 15. I only have room for the ones digit here, so what would I put in this digit?
You would put, wait, what?
7 plus 8 is 15, so that was my first step.
Yeah.
So what would I put right here?
You would put 5 right there.
Yep, and then what would I put up here?
You would put up there a 1.
You got it. Now I add this up. 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10.
Yeah, so it equals 105.
You got it. Okay, how about 57 plus 38?
57 plus 38.
So my first step is 7 plus 8.
7 plus 8 equals 5. Then you put the 1 with the on top, like on the other side. Then 5 plus 3 equals 8. Then it goes to 9.
You got it.
95.
You got it. You have a very, very smart brain, Missy.
Thank you.
I love it. Okay, so that is adding, but sometimes we have more than 2 here. So suppose we had 25 plus 22 plus 21. Now we would add all of these up, 5 plus 2 plus 1, and then we would add all of these up. So go ahead and do the first step is...
Hold on, give me a second. Wait, give me a second.
You have all the time in the world.
Wait, so the first step is it equals 8. Then it equals 6. So it equals 68.
That's right. Okay. So now we take a rest. We stretch our arms. We stretch our neck. Whew, that was a lot of math. Okay. So the rest of it I'm not going to record. We're just going to talk about different problems of what we just did. So let me stop.